Jack Wilson took out a would-be mass shooter from 30 feet away with a headshot at age 71. Michael Collins, maybe the most underrated living American, flew to the moon, dropped off his friends, then circled that by himself, picked him up, came home. Let me repeat, this man orbited the moon alone. My mother won't drive to the grocery after it gets dark. John Chicky Donahue, a merchant marine from New York City, snuck into the war zone in Vietnam in the 60s to deliver beer to his 3 enlisted buddies from back home. It is known as the greatest beer run ever and has a documentary made about it. World War II MacLeod 1. Made a personal weapon from an aircraft machine gun. While fighting in the World War II Battle of Bougainville, Corporal Tony Stein picked up a .30 caliber AN-M2 Browning machine gun from the wrecked wings of a Douglas SBD Dauntless dive bomber. Since he was a toolmaker before the war, he was able to refashion the aircraft's weapon, which fired 1,200 to 1,500 rounds per minute, into a personal machine gun. He dubbed it the Stinger and later carried it into combat on Iwo Jima. While there, Stein would clear enemy pillboxes with the Stinger, then carry a wounded Marine back to the beach as he picked up more ammunition. Stein did this 8 times, and for his efforts, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. He was later killed by a sniper in the battle for Mount Suribachi, which he only joined after leaving a hospital ship. Meet Isaac Wright Jr. In 1991, Isaac was wrongfully convicted of being a drug kingpin and received a life sentence. During his appeal process, Isaac served as his own attorney and a prison paralegal. He helped win reduced sentences for at least 20 inmates and while appealing his own sentence, extracted a confession from an officer, which led to the cops who had arrested him and the judge who convicted him being locked up. After he was freed, Isaac went to law school, received his degree and was sworn in as a licensed attorney. Abu Tazan al-Salahi, Iraqi veteran sniper and Popular Mobilization Forces (PMF) volunteer. Nicknamed the Sheik of Snipers, he was credited with killing over 3,840 ISIS members during the Iraqi Civil War. He was killed on September 29, 2017, during the Battle of Hajjah, at the age of 64. During the filming of The Punisher, 2005, wrestler Kevin Nash was accidentally stabbed by Thomas Jane when he forgot to swap a real knife out for a prop. Nash hadn't even noticed he was bleeding and finished the scene in character. The take stayed in the film. This is Wong, member of Protect the Kids. He is 82 years old now. Just like the youngsters fighting for justice on street, he always appears at the front line, protecting the youngsters with his body. I skied back to the pool again to take this photo for all those men who commented "make me a sandwich" on my TEDx talk. I made you a sandwich, ham and cheese. Now ski 37 days and 600 kilometers to the South Pole and you can eat it. 16-year-old Australian explorer Jade Hameister. Polish tanker Dries de Santa delivering Christmas gifts to children in a liberated town in Italy during World War II. As he just arrived at the front, in 1915, Albert Roche volunteered to destroy a German blockhouse. He creeped up to the enemy's trenches, killed half of them and came back with all the machine guns and 8 prisoners. Later during the war, Germans bombed his trench, killing every single soldier but him. He proceeded to use the weapons of his dead comrades, alternately firing them, to successfully repel the whole assault. Later, he volunteered for a reconnaissance mission but was captured with his wounded lieutenant. Isolated in the enemy bunker, he overwhelmed his interrogator, killed him, took his gun, killed the 2 guards, freed the 42 other prisoners and came back with them while wearing his lieutenant on his back. Later, he crawled under fire for 6 hours to reach a wounded captain, then another 4 hours to hand him over to stretcher bearers. Exhausted, he fell asleep during his next guard and was about to be executed for abandoning his post when the captain awoke him from coma and explained the situation just in time. By the end of World War I, Albert was wounded 9 times. For one of them, he managed to extract the bullet himself. Never promoted, he was still a second-class soldier when his service record was discovered. He then became a national hero. He had personally captured a total of 1,180 German soldiers, 1,180 prisoners, by himself. A 15-year-old dude pretended to be a 14-year-old girl on Tinder. A pedophile started talking to him. They agreed to go out. When they arrived, the pedo was expecting a 14-year-old girl. He found a 15-year-old boy dressed up as Spider-Man that beat his ass. Welcome to Brazil. Ines Ramirez, a woman with no medical experience, successfully performed the first and only documented C-section. She was living in a remote town in Mexico and resorted to this drastic approach after losing her previous child to an obstructed delivery. In Brazil, there was a period of strong censorship by the dictatorial government. So an artist began writing protest messages on Coke bottles and returning them to the factory. The text was white, so nobody noticed anything until they filled the bottle. This one teaches you how to make a Molotov. This photo was taken by a soldier in Afghanistan of a helicopter rescue mission. The pilot is a PA National Guard guy who flies EMS choppers in civilian life. Now, how many people on the planet you reckon could set the ass end of a chopper down on the rooftop of a shack, on a steep mountain cliff, and hold it there while soldiers load wounded men in the rear? If this does not impress you, nothing ever will. A French weightlifter named Charles Regalet was jailed for hitting a Nazi guard, but broke out of the jail cell by bending the bars. He allowed the other prisoners to escape as well. He then beat the guard who jailed him. Former Yugoslavian President Josip Broz Tito, after multiple failed attempts on his life by Stalin, sent this letter to the Soviet leader: "Stop sending people to kill me. We already captured 5 of them. If you don't stop sending killers, I will send one to Moscow and I will not have to send another." Armenian fin swimmer Shavash Karapetian was finishing a 12-mile run when he heard a bus crash into the water. He dove down 33 feet and rescued 20 people, one at a time. He is an 11-time world record holder, 17-time world champion, 13-time European champion, and 7-time USSR champion. East German soldier helps a kid escape to reunite with his family in the West. Just a reminder to give credit to the man of the year, Ashton Kutcher, who slowed down his acting career to pursue efforts in stopping human trafficking with help from the CIA and FBI. He also saved 6,000 children from this terrible part of society. Thank you. Nigerian physician Dr. Oluwayanka Olutoy cut a woman baby out her womb at 23 weeks old, successfully operated on the baby after taking out a tumor, then placed the baby back into the mom's womb, and the baby was later delivered healthy and naturally on time at 36 weeks. British Columbia woodsman Francis Wharton shot a deer in the late 1960s but had no serviceable teeth with which to eat it, so he fashioned dentures out of the deer's own teeth and ate it.